There is no warrior without fear, but the difference between the defeated and the powerful is confidence, not arrogance, not ego, but the quiet, unshakable trust in yourself that you can stand, even when the world pushes, that you can breathe, even when the storm comes, and that your steps still matter even when the path is unclear. Confidence is not loud. It is silent, disciplined, and deep. It is born not in victory, but in struggle. And if you want to build it, you must earn it within. You must begin with nothing. You must begin with doubt, with a shaky voice, with a trembling heart, with a mind that questions every move you make. But you begin, you still move, you still rise, and every time you move forward despite your fear, that is confidence forming. Confidence is a fire, but it doesn't start as a flame. It starts as a spark, small, quiet, ignored by many. But those who notice it, they protect it, they feed it, they walk with it, they meditate with it, and slowly it grows until it becomes the light that leads their life. You see, the greatest enemy of confidence is comparison. You look around and see others ahead, more skilled, more successful, more sure, and you forget that your path is not their path, your mountain is not their mountain, and your pace is your own. Confidence is not pretending to know. It is accepting what you don't know and still choosing to learn, still choosing to show up, still choosing to breathe, to focus, to act. It is built when you stay consistent in your training, even when no one watches. It is built when you speak with truth, even when your voice shakes. It is built when you fail, but instead of collapsing, you stand taller and try again. Confidence is not about standing above others. It is about standing tall within yourself, so tall that fear bows, so tall that doubt becomes your student, so tall that your silence speaks louder than noise. A confident mind is trained in solitude. It is carved in discipline, forged in failure, and grounded in purpose. So if today you feel weak, uncertain, lost, do not run, do not hide. Sit with yourself. Ask, what am I afraid of? What am I avoiding? What am I capable of? If I stop doubting and then move, not fast, not perfect, but with purpose, and that purpose will guide you to your strength. This is the way of the warrior. This is the way of confidence. Not loud, not proud, but clear and unstoppable. Confidence begins in silence, not in noise. In the world today, we often mistake volume for value. We see people speaking loudly, boasting, performing, and we assume that this is confidence. But this is not always true. Real confidence does not need to announce itself. It does not need to shout to be seen. It lives in silence. It rests in stillness. It radiates quietly from within. When you are truly confident, you don't feel the need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to dominate a conversation or outshine the room. Your presence is enough. The way you walk, the way you observe, the way you listen. It speaks louder than words. Confidence rooted in silence is not weakness. It is mastery. Because silence requires control. It requires patience. It requires deep understanding of yourself. The silent confidence says, I know who I am, and I don't need your permission to be it. This kind of confidence is built through inner work, through meditation, through moments alone, sitting with your thoughts, confronting your fears. It's built in the early hours of the morning, when no one is watching and your ego is asleep. It's found when you are still and you hear that quiet voice within whisper, you are enough. That is where real confidence begins, not in applause, not in achievement, but in silence. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to begin. One of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is, I will start when I feel ready. But the truth is, you may never feel ready. The mind is clever. It creates excuses dressed as logic. It waits for the perfect timing, for complete certainty, for the fear to disappear. But none of these things will ever fully arrive. The fear might lessen, the doubts may quiet, but they never vanish. And if you wait for their absence, you'll wait forever. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it is action despite fear. It is walking forward with shaking legs. It is speaking your truth with a trembling voice. It is stepping into the unknown with no guarantee, but a deep whisper inside saying, "Go, just go." Every master, every monk, every warrior began with hesitation, but what separates them from the rest is that they started anyway. They took the first step, they failed, they fell, but they kept going, and with each imperfect action, they became stronger, more grounded, more sure of themselves. Readiness is a myth created by the comfort zone. It tells you that something magical will shift inside you before you act, but the truth is action creates the shift. Courage grows when it is exercised. Clarity comes when you move, and confidence is born the moment you stop waiting and start doing. So don't ask yourself, "Am I ready?" Ask yourself, "Am I willing?" Willing to be uncomfortable, willing to feel fear, willing to move through resistance, because those who build confidence are not the ones who had it from the start. They are the ones who started before they had it. Every small step you take builds inner strength. Too often, we believe that confidence is built only through big victories, through massive achievements, loud applause, or life-changing moments. But this is not the path of true power. The truth is far more subtle, far more disciplined. Real confidence is constructed brick by brick, with small intentional steps, repeated daily. When you wake up and choose to train your mind, even for 5 minutes, when you resist the urge to escape into distraction, when you speak with honesty in a world full of noise, these are not small actions. They are foundational, they are sacred. Each step you take, no matter how small, sends a message to your mind: I am moving, I am growing, I am becoming. And over time, those tiny steps, those silent victories that no one applauds, they become your strength. They become your confidence. The world may not notice when you rise early to meditate or when you repeat your affirmations in solitude, but your soul notices, your nervous system remembers, your spirit grows stronger layer by layer. Inner strength is not made in a single day. It's not earned through grand gestures. It's cultivated in repetition, in discipline, in your commitment to show up again and again, even when it feels boring, hard, or invisible. Small steps are powerful because they are sustainable. They don't rely on motivation, they rely on choice, and every time you choose alignment over avoidance, presence over procrastination, truth over comfort, you are casting a vote for the future version of yourself. This is how warriors are built, not by leaping over mountains, but by taking quiet, steady steps toward the summit. Every single day, your voice doesn't need to be steady to speak truth. There will be moments when your heart races, when your throat tightens, when your voice shakes and your palms sweat. But even in those moments, especially in those moments, your truth matters, and it deserves to be spoken. We often wait for the perfect composure. We wait to feel calm, confident, and sure before we express what we truly feel or believe. But sometimes that calm never arrives. Sometimes your truth only has one chance to live, and it comes dressed in vulnerability. Do not mistake trembling for weakness. A shaking voice can still carry strength. A tear-filled eye can still see clearly, and a nervous heart can still beat with great courage. Truth does not need polish. It doesn't need to be eloquent or flawless. It needs to be real. It needs to be alive. And when you dare to speak it, despite the fear, it empowers not just you, but others too. There is a quiet power in authenticity, a power that doesn't seek attention but creates connection. When you speak from the heart, even imperfectly, people feel it. They don't hear perfection. They hear presence. They hear honesty. And in a world full of masks, that is rare. That is valuable. Confidence isn't always about how strong your voice sounds. It's about how honest your voice is. It's about honoring your truth when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or even unpopular. And every time you choose to speak your truth, No matter how it sounds, you teach your nervous system that your voice matters. You train your soul to be brave. You strengthen your connection with yourself. So let it shake, let it crack, let it be messy, because even if it's trembling, your truth still deserves to be heard. The fire of confidence starts with a spark. Confidence doesn't arrive like lightning. It doesn't strike suddenly from the sky. It begins in silence. It begins in shadows. It begins with a tiny, flickering spark that lives deep within you, a whisper that says, "Maybe I can." In the beginning, that spark is fragile, easily ignored, easily extinguished. Others might not see it. Some might try to put it out, but that spark, if protected, can become your greatest power. You must feed it. You must shield it from the wind of doubt and the storms of judgment. You must believe in it, even when no one else does. And to do that, you must become the guardian of your own flame. That spark is ignited the moment you take action despite your fear. It's lit when you show up for your morning discipline. It grows when you follow through on the small promises you make to yourself, and it begins to glow, brighter and stronger, every time you move forward, even when you feel unprepared. Confidence doesn't come from outcomes. It comes from intention, from effort, from consistency, and that means the first spark of confidence is often born in failure, in pain, in falling and choosing to rise. You cannot wait for confidence to arrive before you act. You must act so that confidence has something to rise from. Just like a fire needs friction to ignite, you must move, struggle, and persist to fuel your spark. With time, this spark becomes a steady flame. It gives you warmth when the world feels cold. It lights your way when the path is unclear, and eventually that flame becomes a fire that does not burn others but burns away your fear, your doubt, and your hesitation. That is how confidence is born, not through force, but through the quiet devotion of protecting your spark. Comparison is the thief of inner power. There is a quiet poison that seeps into the mind, and it's called comparison. It begins subtly. You scroll, you watch, you observe others, and slowly, without realizing it, you begin to measure yourself through their reflection. You see someone ahead in their journey, someone more skilled, more successful, more certain. And suddenly, your own progress feels too small. Your own voice sounds too quiet. Your own light seems dim. But this is an illusion, because their path is not your path. Their pace is not your pace. Their timing is not your timing. Comparison blinds you to your own growth. It steals your gratitude. It weakens your focus, and most dangerously, it disconnects you from your own truth. You cannot walk forward while constantly looking sideways. You cannot hear your own inner wisdom if your ears are filled with the noise of other people's lives. Confidence comes from alignment, not from measurement, from living your truth, not imitating someone else's version of success. The tree does not compare itself to the river. The mountain does not compete with the sky. Each stands tall in its own form, in its own time, and so must you. When you compare, you forget the battles you've overcome. You dismiss the small wins that only you could have achieved. You lose sight of your inner strength, the one no one else sees, but that you've built day by day, silently. Instead of comparison, practice reflection. Look inward, ask, where was I yesterday? How far have I come mentally, emotionally, spiritually? Am I closer to the person I'm becoming? Because that is the only measure that matters. Your power lies not in being ahead of anyone. It lies in being deeply connected to your own growth, your own journey, your own becoming. And the moment you stop comparing is the moment you start evolving. True confidence is the result of discipline. We often imagine confidence as something spontaneous, like a gift some are born with, a natural trait that others simply have. But that's not how real confidence works. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's built, and the foundation that builds it is discipline. Discipline is doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's waking up early to train your body, sitting in silence to train your mind, and showing up fully in the smallest, most unnoticed moments of life. Confidence does not come from comfort. It grows in discomfort, in the repetition of right action, when you practice something again and again, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when no one praises you for it. That is where confidence is born. You see, confidence is not about feeling powerful, it's about proving to yourself through action that you are trustworthy. Every time you say, "I will," and then follow through, you are training your nervous system to believe you. You are telling your subconscious mind, "When I speak, I act." This internal consistency builds a strength that cannot be shaken by opinion or failure, because your confidence no longer relies on external validation. It comes from within, it is grounded, it is earned. The monk sitting in stillness, the warrior practicing his form before dawn, the student returning to his breath during chaos, each of them understands. Discipline is the path to self-mastery. And self-mastery is the foundation of true, unbreakable confidence. Without discipline, confidence becomes arrogance. It floats, enrooted, unstable. But when discipline supports it, confidence becomes calm, present, and humble. So if you seek confidence, don't search for quick fixes. Don't wait for motivation. Return to your practice. Return to your habits. Return to the path of discipline, and confidence will follow like your own shadow. Failure is the forge where confidence is created. Most people fear failure. They treat it like a threat, like a wound to their worth. But those who walk the true path of mastery understand failure is not the end. It is the beginning. It is not your enemy. It is your teacher, your mirror, your forge. A forge is a place where metal is melted, reshaped, and strengthened, and so is failure. When you fail, it strips away your illusions. It burns off the ego. It shows you what's real, what needs work, what needs courage, what needs more presence. Failure humbles you. It reminds you that you are not perfect, but it also reveals something deeper, that you survived it, that you got back up, that you are stronger than you thought. You see, confidence is not built by always winning. If you win all the time, you may become comfortable, even arrogant. But when you fail and continue anyway, that's when you develop true resilience. That's when you stop fearing the fall. And when you no longer fear the fall, you walk with a different kind of power. Confidence rooted in failure has depth. It is grounded. It doesn't shake when things go wrong. Because it remembers, I've been here before, and I rose. Every failure is a test. Will you run from it, or will you sit with it? Will you hide, or will you study it like a sacred scroll and ask, what was this here to teach me? The strongest people you admire, they have failed more times than most have tried, and that is what gave them their calm, their steadiness, their unshakable presence. So if you've fallen, if you've lost, if you feel broken, remember, you are not weak. You are in the forge, and the fire will not destroy you. It will shape you, and through that shaping, your confidence will rise, not hollow, but forged in truth. Confidence means trusting your direction, even when others don't see your vision. There will come a time when your path doesn't make sense to others, when your decisions confuse them, when your silence, your discipline, your dreams look strange, even foolish, and in those moments you will be tested. Not by failure, but by the loneliness of walking your own way. True confidence is not built on applause. It is built in solitude. It is found when you keep moving forward even when the crowd walks the other way. Even when no one claps, even when no one understands, you must learn to trust your inner compass, because your vision was given to you, not to them. Your calling speaks in a language only you can hear. And if you let the noise of the world drown out that voice, you will betray yourself trying to be accepted by others. Confidence is staying loyal to your own rhythm. It is knowing that alignment matters more than approval. It is understanding that not everyone will see what you see because they haven't walked your journey. They don't carry your fire. They don't feel your mission. and that's okay. Your direction is not a democracy. It doesn't require votes, it requires clarity, and that clarity must come from within. Sometimes the most courageous act is to take a step that no one claps for, to say yes to something no one else believes in, to hold your vision in your heart and guard it like a flame in the wind. The path of self-trust is narrow and often silent, but those who walk it find a power that cannot be shaken because it is not built from outside voices. It is built from alignment, purpose, and a deep-rooted sense of truth. So when others doubt you, pause, breathe, and remember. They don't have to see your path, only you do. That is enough. The confident person trains even when no one is watching. True confidence is not built under the spotlight. It is built in silence in the quiet corners of your life, where no one is clapping, no one is recording, and no one is watching but you. It is easy to show up when others are looking, to act strong, disciplined, and motivated when eyes are on you. But what do you do when no one is there, when there's no recognition, no praise, no reward? That's where real growth happens. That's where the roots go deep. The monk rises before the sun, not for approval, but for mastery. The warrior sharpens his sword in solitude, not for fame, but for readiness. And the confident man or woman, they train in private, so their presence speaks for them in public. You see, confidence is the result of private victories. It's what you earn in the moments of discipline when quitting feels easier. It's the result of all the early mornings you rise, all the temptations you resist, all the times you say, "I will keep going." Even though no one would know if you stopped, the world sees the results, but you know the repetitions, you know the hours, you know the sweat behind the calm, and because you know what you've earned, you don't need to prove anything. That's the gift of silent training. It builds a quiet power inside of you, one that doesn't shake when criticized, one that doesn't boast when praised, one that simply is. So if today you are working in silence, if no one sees your effort good, let it be your secret strength, because the strongest energy does not announce itself, it reveals itself. Through presence, through stillness, through mastery, train in silence and let your confidence make the noise. Fear is a companion, not an enemy. For most people, fear is something to run from. It's seen as a weakness, an obstacle to overcome or eliminate. But the truth is, fear is not your enemy. It's a messenger. A mirror, a companion on the path of growth. The presence of fear does not mean you are weak. It means you are stepping into something that matters, because fear only shows up when the stakes are real, when you're about to stretch, evolve, or face something unknown. The warrior does not wait for fear to vanish. He trains with it standing beside him. He breathes through it. He moves with it. He knows it so deeply that it no longer controls him. Fear is not meant to paralyze you. It's meant to awaken you, to sharpen your senses, to bring you fully into the present moment, to test whether your desire to grow is greater than your desire to remain comfortable. Real confidence is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of your relationship with it. When fear speaks, don't silence it, listen to it, ask, "Why are you here? What are you trying to protect me from?" Then respond with presence, "Thank you for showing up, but I am choosing growth." You see, those who fear fear run, hide, avoid, but those who welcome fear with awareness, they rise. They move forward with courage, not because they are fearless, but because they have befriended their fear. Confidence grows not by avoiding fear, but by walking with it step by step, breath by breath, until fear becomes less of a wall and more of a doorway. So don't push fear away, walk beside it, let it remind you that you are alive, that you are evolving, and that you're stepping into something your old self would have never dared to face. Confidence is calm, not chaos. In a noisy world, we've come to associate confidence with volume, with boldness, with loud opinions, with people who take up space. But real confidence, deep, unshakable confidence, is calm. It doesn't rush, It doesn't need to prove, it simply is. Confidence that is rooted in truth shows up quietly, in your posture, in your breath, in the way your eyes hold focus when others panic, in the way you pause before you speak, not because you are unsure, but because you respect the weight of your words. Chaos reacts, calm responds, and confidence chooses response always. When you're truly confident, you don't need to fight to be heard. Your presence speaks louder than your voice. Your energy does the talking, because when your inner world is steady, the outer world cannot shake you. Think of the mountain. It does not shout, it does not chase attention, and yet its stillness commands awe. That is the nature of real power. It doesn't flinch in storms, it doesn't beg to be seen, it draws respect through its calm. You must understand calm is not weakness, it is control. It is the result of discipline, of breath, of self-mastery. It is the space between trigger and reaction where clarity lives. A confident person knows how to hold that space. They don't rush into arguments. They don't need to dominate a room, because they are already rooted in something deeper, inner peace, and inner peace is the highest form of power because it cannot be taken from you. So if you want to be confident, stop trying to appear powerful. Instead, practice becoming still. Listen more than you speak. Breathe more than you react. And let the quiet strength of your calm presence do what noise never can. You gain confidence by keeping promises to yourself. There is a sacred bond that exists between you and yourself, one built not on grand declarations, but on the quiet commitments you make in your mind, in moments of clarity. Tomorrow I will wake early. I will meditate. I will not give up. These small, silent promises, they matter more than you think, because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen the bridge between your intention and your action. And that bridge is what carries confidence. It's not what you say out loud that defines you, it's what you follow through on when no one is watching. When you break your promises to others, you lose their trust. But when you break promises to yourself, you lose your own. You send a message to your subconscious that your words have no weight, that your desires are optional, that your dreams can be delayed. But when you keep those promises, even the smallest ones, you teach your mind that you are reliable. You prove to yourself again and again, I can trust me. And that is the root of true confidence, not the trust of others, but the unshakable trust in yourself, the knowing that you will show up, that you will stay the course, that you will not abandon yourself when things get hard. It starts with simple disciplines, setting your alarm and rising with it, saying no when your peace is at stake, finishing what you begin, even if it's uncomfortable. Each act, though small, is a vote for your future self, and those votes add up. Confidence is not earned in a moment. It is layered daily through integrity. When your actions align with your words, and your words align with your values, your presence becomes solid, grounded, trustworthy. So if your confidence feels shaken, don't seek validation from the world. Look at the promises you've made to yourself and start keeping them, one by one. Because the moment you do, you'll remember what you forgot. You are powerful. Because you are consistent, purpose gives power to your presence. There is a quiet force that flows through people who know why they are here. It's not just confidence, it's clarity. It's not just strength, it's direction. When a person walks with purpose, their energy shifts. Their presence becomes undeniable. You can feel it when they enter a room. They don't need to speak loudly or demand attention. Their presence speaks before their mouth ever opens. Because purpose, when embodied, radiates. It gives you weight. It anchors your movements. It silences your inner doubt. Actions are tied to something greater than yourself. When you're moving toward a mission that resonates with your soul, that's when your confidence becomes rooted, unshakable. Purpose answers the question, why should I continue when it's hard? Why does this matter? It gives your struggle meaning, it turns pain into fuel, and it transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Even in moments of fear, when you feel small or unsure, purpose reminds you, This isn't about how I feel in this moment, it's about who I'm becoming and what I stand for. Purpose is what helps the monk sit in silence for hours, what keeps the warrior training when no one is watching, what allows the leader to hold stillness in the midst of chaos. Because when you have a reason, a true reason, you don't need constant motivation. You move with intention, you act with alignment, you speak with clarity, not for validation, but because your words carry weight. This is the kind of confidence that doesn't waver, it doesn't shrink when challenged, because it is connected to something eternal, something that comes from deep within your soul. So if your confidence feels lost, ask yourself not, how can I feel more confident, but what is my purpose? Why am I here? Because once you find that everything you do becomes sacred, and confidence becomes effortless. Confidence is not knowing everything, it's being okay with not knowing. So many people wait to feel ready. They believe that confidence comes from having all the answers, from mastering every detail, from reaching a place where there is no more uncertainty. But that's not confidence, that's control, and real confidence is not control. It is surrender with awareness. You see, the truly confident person does not fear not knowing, because they trust themselves enough to learn. They trust their ability to adapt. They understand that the world is too vast, too complex for anyone to know it all, and they don't need to. Confidence is when you can say, I don't know, but I'm open to finding out. It's the calm acceptance of where you are, and the humility to grow beyond it. The ego demands certainty, but confidence allows curiosity. It gives you the courage to ask questions, to make mistakes, to look like a beginner without shame. And when you no longer need to pretend, you free yourself. You become available for real learning, for real connection, for real mastery. A confident mind is not filled with pride, it's filled with presence. It listens more than it speaks. It observes without rushing to react. It does not fear saying, I don't know yet, because yet is the word that holds potential. It means you're open. It means you're evolving. It means you're on the path. So remember this, the moment you let go of needing to appear all-knowing is the moment your true power begins to rise. Because now you're learning with intention, growing without fear, and standing firmly in the one truth the wise have always known, that not knowing is the beginning of knowing. Confidence requires solitude. We often associate confidence with how we carry ourselves around others in meetings, on stages, in public settings. But what many don't realize is this: confidence is not built in crowds, it is born in solitude. In the stillness of being alone, you face yourself, fully, honestly, without distraction. There is no performance, no need to impress, no noise to cover your doubts, just you, your thoughts, and your inner truth. This is where real strength is formed, because until you can sit with your own silence, you will always be shaken by the opinions of others. Until you understand your own voice, you will always be searching for validation. And until you learn to stand alone, you will never truly know what it means to stand strong. Solitude is not loneliness. It is sacred space. It is the monk's chamber, the warrior's temple, the artist's workshop. It is the quiet forge where the soul is tempered. When you remove the world's distractions, the scrolling, the comparison, the constant noise, you begin to hear something deeper, your own inner wisdom. And that voice, though quiet, is powerful. It knows what you value. It knows what you fear. It knows what you must do. Confidence arises from knowing that voice, from trusting it, from acting in alignment with it, even when it contradicts the crowd. You do not become powerful by being constantly surrounded. You become powerful by retreating long enough to find your center, and once you find it, you carry it with you everywhere you go. In conversations, you'll be calmer. In decisions, you'll be clearer. In challenges, you'll be more grounded, because you've done the work within. And now, no matter how loud the world becomes, you are no longer dependent on it to feel whole. So return to solitude, not as an escape, but as your source, because in that silence you will find the confidence that doesn't waver, because it comes from you. The mind must be trained like the body. You would not expect your body to become strong without effort, without movement, without resistance, without sweat. And yet, so many expect the mind to be sharp, focused, and confident, without training it. But the mind, like the body, is a muscle. It weakens when left idle. It drifts when left unchecked. It becomes anxious, reactive, and scattered without discipline. If you want to build true confidence, you must learn to train your mind as consistently as you would train your body. That means daily practice, mental reps, intentional discomfort, stillness. It begins with observation. Watch how your thoughts arise. Notice the inner critic, the doubt, the distraction, not to judge it, but to understand it. Because you cannot master what you refuse to face. Meditation, breathwork, journaling, these are not luxuries. They are tools for mental clarity. They are your inner gym, where you build focus, presence, and emotional stability. Each time you return to your breath when your thoughts wander, you train. Each time you resist a reactive emotion and choose stillness, you train. Each time you sit in silence rather than escape into noise, you train. And slowly, over time, your mind becomes sharper, more responsive, less reactive, more centered, less chaotic. This mental training becomes the foundation of confidence, because now you are no longer at the mercy of every emotion. You no longer panic when things go wrong. You remain calm in pressure because you've trained for pressure. Just as a disciplined body moves with grace, a disciplined mind moves with wisdom. So if you seek confidence, don't start with the outer world. Start with your inner world, train it, respect it, strengthen it, because once your mind is trained, there is nothing external that can shake your internal. Your pace is your own. One of the deepest sources of insecurity is the illusion that you're behind. Behind in success, behind in confidence, behind in life. We look around and everyone seems to be moving faster, achieving more, rising higher. It makes us doubt our own journey. It makes us question our timing. It makes us rush, but you must understand, your path is sacred, and so is your pace. The seed does not rush to become a tree. The moon does not hurry to become full. The seasons change without panic. Why should you be any different? Confidence is not found by speeding up, it is found by slowing down enough to hear your own rhythm, your own heartbeat, your own direction. The world may try to push you, telling you to move faster, do more, catch up. But what are you trying to catch up to? A timeline designed by fear, a standard created by comparison. When you honor your own pace, you begin to walk with integrity. You no longer chase, you choose. You no longer compete, you align. And something beautiful happens. Your energy becomes steady. You stop rushing your growth. You stop forcing outcomes. You begin to trust, not just the process, but yourself within it, because you know what's meant for you will not arrive late. And what's real does not require panic. So walk slowly if that's your rhythm. Pause when your soul needs space. Accelerate when you feel clarity. But whatever you do, let it come from your truth, not from pressure. Your pace is your power. Don't trade it for noise. Don't sacrifice it for someone else's expectations. Stay in sync with your own becoming, and your confidence will grow with every step. The breath is the gateway to unshakable presence. When the world becomes overwhelming, when fear rises, when doubt clouds the mind, you don't need to escape. You don't need to run. You need to return to the breath. Your breath is your anchor. It is always with you in moments of calm and in moments of chaos. And yet, it is the first thing we abandon when we feel uncertain. We hold it, we rush it, we forget it. But those who walk the path of true inner strength, they know the breath is the master key, because every time you return to it, you return to yourself, to the present, to the now. Confidence is not always built through words, action, or knowledge. Sometimes it's built through presence, and presence is accessed through breath. Take a slow inhale, and suddenly the noise lessens. The racing mind softens. The reactive emotions begin to dissolve. In that moment, you are no longer being pulled by the outside world, you are rooted in the inner world. The breath trains you to respond, not react. It creates space between impulse and intention. It allows you to witness your fear without being consumed by it. In martial arts, in meditation, in high-stakes performance, masters return to their breath. Not because it's a ritual, but because it's a strategy. It is how the mind is calmed, how the body is centered, how the soul regains control. So in moments of stress, in moments of doubt, in moments when your confidence begins to shake, don't seek answers outside. Breathe deeply, intentionally, because when your breath is steady, your mind becomes still. And in stillness, you remember who you are. Confidence is remembering who you are when the world tries to make you forget. There will be moments, many of them, when life will shake you, when voices from the outside will question you, when setbacks will make you doubt your worth. And in those moments, your confidence will not come from affirmations. It will come from memory, the memory of who you are, the memory of what you've endured, the memory of how many storms you've already walked through and still remained standing. The world is loud. It will try to define you, label you, distract you, convince you that your value comes from approval, success, beauty, applause. But beneath all that noise, there is a part of you that already knows. You were born worthy. You were born whole. You were born with everything you need. Confidence is not becoming someone new. It's returning to who you've always been before the world told you otherwise. It's remembering the fire you carry, the truth in your voice, the clarity in your heart, even when the path feels uncertain. Sometimes the journey is not about discovering more, it's about unlearning the lies, shedding the masks, letting go of everything that's not truly you. Because when you remember who you are, you stop chasing approval. You stop begging for acceptance. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into places you've outgrown. You begin to walk differently. You begin to speak with deeper conviction. You begin to trust that your presence is enough, without needing to decorate it with performance. This is the root of unshakable confidence, not arrogance, not perfection, but self-remembrance. So the next time you feel small, the next time the world makes you question your value, pause, breathe. Be still, and remember, you do not need to become powerful. You already are. You only need to remember. Confidence is not a costume you wear in front of others. It is the armor you forge in silence. It is not about being the loudest in the room, but about being the most grounded in your truth. It's not given to you by the world. It is awakened from within through discipline, through presence, through remembrance. The truly confident do not seek to impress, they seek to align. They walk with humility, but carry a power that cannot be shaken because it is rooted in something the world did not give, and therefore the world cannot take away. So train your mind like a monk. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. Rise from your failures like a warrior reborn, and when doubt whispers in your ear, return to your breath, return to your stillness, return to the place where your confidence was always waiting. Not in the noise, not in the outcome, but in you.